Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, I have the version 3 of the Fimi Mini with me today. This is a drone that Fimi has refined, and finally on this version 3, I think they got it pretty right. So I've been trying to show you guys the different features of this drone. So one of the things we haven't done yet is tracking, and traditionally Fimi drones do pretty good with active track. So let's quit messing around. Let's put this drone up in the air and see how well we can do. As you can see, it's a sunny day. There's not a lot of wind, so perfect time to do this. So let's quit messing around. Let's get this bird in the air. Okie dokie, I've got the drone fired up and a screen recorder started. So I like the pre-flight check that they bring up, and at the very top it tells you normal. So that tells you everything is good. But our return to home is almost 37 meters. SD card, let's go ahead and format that real quick just for the fun of it. And formatting in progress. Boom, that's done. So we are going to shoot today in 4K 30 frames per second. This drone is capable of 60 frames. Now in tracking, I believe we have to leave it in medium. We'll click on the camera here and you can see video quality. We're going to leave it in medium. I think you need to do that for tracking. I don't think you can be in high quality while you're tracking. That's just a lesser bit rate is all that amounts to. And it does make a difference in your footage. I don't want to minimize that. But for the purposes of tracking, your video quality isn't going to be quite as good as the drone is capable of. So, yeah, what else? Well, we should look at the safety menu real quick. Now, again, you have that initial pre-flight check, and it tells you everything is okay. So, really, you're in good shape. And again, you can see our return to home height there, which is plenty for where we're at, and limit of flight height, we're a good several feet below the 400-foot limit at not quite 120 meters. We got precision landing on. It's not asking for a compass calibration. Yeah, so yeah, looks like we're good to go. And oh yeah, I should point this out. We've got enable backward flying in Smart Track. That will allow you to push the drone backwards, but I think the reason they put that in there is because they want you to pay attention, because they don't want you to back the drone into a tree or something like that. So yeah, let's go ahead and start recording now. And yeah, take off as soon as possible. It's going to tell us. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's do an auto takeoff on the app. Sliding over here. And there's the little drone up in the air. It goes up about 2.5 meters, 3 meters or so. Yeah, 3 meters, auto takeoff complete. Let's bring it back down, flip it around here so you guys can take a look at the drone. The cool thing about this little drone is it is kind of like DJI. It holds its place in space very, very well. So yeah, because it doesn't have obstacle avoidance, I'm comfortable bringing it in close here. But anyway, let's drop that camera down and let's do our droney, reverse and up. And we're kind of between some trees here, but we're well above everything. And it gives us the home point there on the map, which I appreciate. So anyway, let me pick up that camera so we kind of get to the rule of thirds. And you can see where I'm at here. I am at Julius Kleiner Park. And there's some stuff going on at this picnic shelter. Well, let's just drop the camera down so you can take a look. A bunch of people there at that picnic shelter, so we're going to stay well clear of that. And you can see how quick this drone moves too. I'm just in normal mode, and it's easy to get this guy moving. Let's just take a quick trip out over the pond here, and then we'll bring it back and we'll try out some of that tracking. And I am coming down as we go here. And yeah, let's get out, drop the camera a little bit more. How high are we? We're about 14 meters, 15 meters high. So yeah, we're gonna have to be kind of careful because I could fly it sideways into a tree. So trying to get that, get right down on the fountain here and get in close enough that we can kind of do a little bit of a manual orbit and not worry about running the drone sideways into something. That's kind of the cool thing about being over the water like this, is that you're, you know, there's no trees growing out of the water. Although I suppose you wouldn't want to run the drone into the fountain there. So picking that camera back up, let's quit messing around here. Let's bring it back to us, and let's get to the task at hand, which is to try out tracking. Again, I'm just in normal mode here, and look at how fast this drone is going, man. We're we were almost at 14 meters per second there. So it's a pretty quick little drone, I guess is what I'll say. Let's just bring the guy down here. And I want to be above all these trees. The drone's kind of above me. Let me bring the camera down so you can see what's going on. So I need to be, here's the thing, I need to be above the trees. So we'll see if it'll catch me at that point. So let me get out here in the sun, and we're going to get the drone centered on me here. Yeah, I can't really come down much lower than that, or I'm going to be, might have some problems with some trees. So let's go ahead. We're going to click on that little kind of looking robot head or Android head there at the bottom, and we're going to click follow 3.0, and that's going to take us into instructions there. Target locking, you know, it'll be locked in the center of frame, which is what we want to try. Following, you can follow and fly. Parallel, that'll fly you. What that means is the drone will say on whatever side you leave it on. And then orbit fly, that's self-explanatory. It'll orbit you as it flies. So yeah, they're saying please avoid crowds and use in open areas. Yeah, that's a good point. So look, it does have me spotted there. So let's go ahead and click on that, and let's go ahead and go into follow. Focus, I think, is just like focus track. I think, well, let's try it. I think it'll just fly around me here. In other words, I can move the drone around, and it's going to keep me in center of frame. So this is me doing a manual orbit with the drone. And look at that. It's keeping me right in center of frame. So that's just like focus track that you would find on a DJI drone. Let's switch to follow, and we are going to track, and let's click go. And I'm just going to walk around here. So initially, the drone, this should push the drone backwards, and it is. It's moving backwards. So I'm just going to walk down the path here. And the cool thing about this, what I appreciate here, is a lot of drones, when you're this high up, they won't track you. So what's cool about this is I am able to stay above the trees, and the drone is tracking me just fine. So, God, you can't ask for much more than that. Let's just walk across the street here. I'll even use the crosswalk, and I'm going to watch the drone to make sure. I want to make sure we're clearing everything. There's some taller trees on this side, and then I'm looking at that. Yeah, it's well above it. I was looking at that light standard, and I'm going, okay, is it tall enough to get around that? And yes, it is. Is it high enough? So that'll be a good way for me to figure out how high the drone is. So, and I'm actually in a higher spot than I was where I started. And of course the drone is going to stay at its prescribed height. So, okay, so we did that. Let's click stop, and we're going to go in parallel this time. Let me move the drone to the side of me. and see if it'll get me again here. Yeah, it's looking for me. Look at that. Look at how the drone is looking for me. Okay, so let's get out of that, because, well, you know what? It might find me. It's trying. Okay, let's stop. That is interesting. Yeah, so we're exiting Smart Track, and then let's go back in there again. Smart Track 3.0. That was interesting how it was trying to find me. So there it's got me again, and we're going to click follow, and we're going to click parallel, and we're going to click go. And what that'll do is it'll keep the drone on the same side of me. So as you can see, as I'm walking down this path, the drone is staying right to my side, the same side. So it'll stay at the same aspect that what you started it at. As opposed to follow, it'll just follow you around, and it could be on either side of you or behind you or whatever. So there we go, and I wanted to show you what I mean. I'm going to turn around and go the other way, and you're going to see the drone. It's not going to flip over and get on the other side of me. It's going to say, oh, here's a good test, as we walk behind this tree. And look at that. It followed me the whole way. That's really cool. There's some intelligence built into this one. I'm telling you, they've really refined this. I'm impressed. Okay, let's go ahead and click stop. And then we're going to do orbit this time. And orbit, let's start this guy on an orbit here. And it is going to, let me click go. And it is starting an orbit around me. And there again, I'm going to tell you to be careful, because you could, I'm watching the drone very carefully, because you could, especially sideways, you could run the drone right into a tree or some such. But I think we're in good shape here. I've got it high enough, and we're walking back across the street, and the drone just continues to orbit. This is pretty impressive. Let's see as we go around this tree. Now it kept me in, yeah, it's keeping me in center of frame or close to it. Yeah, good job, Fimi. This is really good. I'm just telling you, this level of tracking is, you just don't find this on a lot of drones. In fact, you don't find it on any drone except this one and DJI. So let's see as we go through the shade here. I mean, look at this. It's not losing me. That is, yeah, that is so flipping cool. So I'm going to stand here, and you're going to see it just continue to orbit around me as I stand in one spot. We can even crank that orbit speed up. There, I cranked it up faster. So that's what puts even more load on the drone. And it's kind of having to move the camera around, etc. to do it. But it's doing it. That is pretty wild. Okay. Let's hit stop there, and I'm going to get back by the camera here, or by my action camera, and where we took off from. That's what I was trying to say. Gosh, okay, so we went through all of that stuff. So we're going to exit out of there. We still have 55% battery. Okay, let's try something else. I'm going to put this drone into fixed wing mode. And that is kind of, how do I explain this? It's kind of pseudo FPV. So let's go ahead and go into fixed wing. And it'll just tells you here that the drone will switch to fixed wing mode automatically when flight speed is up to 3 meters per second and 5 meters for 3 seconds. So it doesn't just switch into it immediately. So we're just going to try that out. Let's pick up that camera. And we're going to click OK. And let's grab some altitude here. And we'll head out over the park here. Yeah, and you can see already it's in fixed wing mode. So yeah, and it just tells us at the bottom of the screen. See, it gives us that FPV style. What it does is essentially locks the gimbal. So as we turn here, you're going to see it swing to the other way, the other direction, and it gives you kind of that FPV feel. Is what that's all about, especially as you turn, right? So if you're trying to, that's a specific effect. If you're looking for that effect, this is the way to do it. So let's see what happens if we just go full stick forward here. I'm pressing just straight forward on the stick. And yeah, we're up to, it's actually keeping us fairly slow. Let me just ease it around the other way. And yeah, you look at it tilt, it'll start to tilt the other way. Boom. Yep, over the top of the senior center here. And we'll just bring it back. Okay, well that is fixed wing mode if you were wondering what that's all about. Okay, I'm going to get out of there. And you'll see it, the drone immediately straighten itself out there. I'm just telling you, this is impressive. They're doing some good work with this little drone. So yeah, let's go ahead and go full stick forward. Let's see, we're at 44% battery. Let's send this guy out a ways. Let's throw it in sport mode. And the only way I know to do that is to click on it right there, sport mode, and let's crank this guy up and let's just get some speed up. And you saw the gimbal dip a little bit there. That is perfectly normal in sport mode because the drone has to pitch forward so hard that it's got to drop that gimbal down so it's not looking up at the nose of the drone. Yeah, man, it's moving right along here. We're at 15 meters per second. Yeah, and I was turned the wrong way, so I was losing signal there. Turned the right way now, and I'm good. Let's grab some more altitude. Yeah, this guy's doing great. Okay, I'm going to turn it around and come back the other way, and let's see speed-wise. Let's see what we can get it up to. This is the fastest little mini drone there is. So let's see, coming back this way, yeah, it is faster. 17, 18, boy, almost 19. Yeah, we had 19 meters per second there for a little bit. That is quick, folks. That is super fast for a mini drone. And boy, I'm watching it above me there. It is pitched forward and hauling the mail. It almost reminds me of like an FPV drone like that. Okay, we're going to go back into normal mode. And by the way, you have smooth mode there that you would use if you're trying to get some really cinematic footage. But let's just go out a little bit further and let's execute a return to home and see if we can get a precision landing. So I'm hitting that return to home button. Heck, let's do it on the controller. I'm hitting the button on the controller. And it is in auto return. It tells us right there on the screen. And let's see. I'm just going to leave the camera pointed straight forward. And I can't remember if this guy drops its main camera or not. But the drone's on its way back to us. 30% battery. I'm just telling you. I'm just going to say it. This is the best Fimi drone that I've ever owned. It just does everything right, like they say it will. And what more can you ask for? Yeah, it points the camera down. I thought it did because it has to look for the landing pad. I couldn't remember. Landing pad not detected. Let's see. My friend Richard would tell me that I need a round pad in this situation. And you know what? With Fimi drones, he's right. But it looks like it's a little bit off the pad here. But it's coming. It's coming pretty. We'll see if it finds it as it gets lower. Landing pad not detected. Yeah, I don't think it's going to do it. Yeah, I'm going to hit pause, and we are going to land this thing manually. Let me drop that camera down and see if we can get it right over the pad here. So we're close. Good thing I'm in normal mode. Straighten it out, back it up just a little bit. Boy, it's a little touchy. Again, I probably should be in slow mode for this, in cinema mode or whatever. But okay, we're pretty much, gosh, I keep readjusting, and the wind comes up and blows it off a little bit. Too much that way, too much this way. Come on, straight down. I adjusted it at the last minute and got it right on the H. So one of the things that I like that Fimi does is it stops recording once you land. Let me get everything shut down and we'll do a quick conclusion. I'm going to call that a successful flight. Man, the drone did everything that we asked it to do. That tracking mode was amazing. I was particularly interested in when I moved off, how the drone was trying to find me again. It was moving the camera up and down, trying to find me, and it didn't quite, so I had to start it over again. But that's a lot of processing power and technology built into this guy. The other thing is, even moving behind trees and stuff, and I had the drone fairly high up there to stay above those trees, it didn't lose me. In other words, it would find me as I walked through a shadow or walked behind a tree. That is astounding. It did the follow me portion perfectly. You could push the drone backwards. When we flew it in parallel, it stayed on the same aspect side of me, just like it's supposed to do. And yeah, didn't lose me a bit. And we walked around here quite a bit and then put it in the orbit mode. And that really taxes the drone, right? It's moving, doing a circle around you and still trying to keep track of you as you move. And it did it just fine. So color me impressed. We tried out fixed wing mode just for the fun of it. I was just looking for something to do. Tried out fixed wing mode. We also took it out at range a little bit and then flew it back in sport mode. We got this guy up to 19 meters per second. Let me think about that. That's about 42, 43 miles an hour, something like that. That's pretty quick for a little bitty mini drone. And I watched it as it was flying over the top of me. Let me tell you what, that baby was pitched forward. It was really pitched forward. So anyway, again, I'm having a lot of fun with this little drone. And it recently has been on sale for $279. Now, I don't know if it'll still be that by the time you see this video, but often you can find it at $299, and even at its regular price of $349, I think it's a great deal. Of course, I'll put my Amazon affiliate link in the description below. That does pay me a little bit of commission. I want to acknowledge that. Yeah, I guess that's about it. I think we've covered it. Man, I'm just having a ton of fun with this little drone, I got to tell you. So, yeah, until the next one. I think the next video I do with this, I'm waiting for our atmosphere to clear up a little bit. We got a lot of smoke going on here, but because I want to be able to do some panorama shots and maybe even try a time lapse with it and just look at some of the other features. I like to just give these features all their due instead of trying to cram it all into one video. You know, just go after them one at a time. So in any case, that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I so appreciate you taking the time to look at this video. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. The little Fimi Mini version 3, well worth it. Pretty cool drone.